Hey, welcome! Every single time you click that Buy Now button, you're kicking off this incredible, invisible ballet of logistics. But behind that super-fast delivery, there's this hidden world of engineering, this high-stakes game being played inside these enormous warehouses. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain and show you exactly how millions of products get from some random shelf all the way to your front door.
I mean, seriously, have you ever really thought about it? How in the world does a company store everything from, I don't know, a tiny tube of chapstick to a massive flat-screen TV all under one roof, and then find any one of those items in just a few minutes? It sounds totally impossible, right? But it's actually a puzzle, and it has some really clever solutions. So yeah, let's solve it piece by piece.
Okay, so at the absolute heart of all of this is a constant battle. It's a fight on two fronts. See, every single square foot of a warehouse costs a ton of money, so you want to pack things in as tightly as humanly possible. But every second it takes a worker to walk over, find an item, and grab it, that also costs a ton of money. So these two goals, saving space and saving labor, they're always fighting each other. And pretty much every piece of tech we're going to look at today, well, it's a weapon designed to win this one epic battle.
All right, so where does our product's journey begin? Well, it starts with the unsung hero of the entire supply chain, the humble, simple wooden pallet. I know, it looks so basic, right? But this little platform is the fundamental building block. Without it, literally none of this works. Now, you might think a pallet is just a random collection of boards nailed together, but nope. It is a highly standardized unit. Here in North America, we're almost always using what's called the GMA pallet. That's the 48 by 40 inch one. But hop over to Europe, and you'll see the Euro pallet, which is actually designed specifically to fit through standard European doorways. It's just a perfect example of how even the most basic tool is engineered with incredible precision for its environment.
And even within these standards, there are more critical choices to make. You've got your two-way pallet, which is cheaper to make, but a forklift can only get its forks in from two sides. Then you have the four-way pallet. It costs a little more, but that flexibility, man, it saves a driver from wasting precious seconds, maybe even minutes, trying to maneuver in a super tight aisle. So here's the crucial takeaway. This tiny design choice has a huge ripple effect on both labor time and how you use your space.
Okay, so our pallet full of goodies has finally arrived at the warehouse. Now what? Well, you can't just stack them on top of each other forever. Obviously, you'd crush everything on the bottom. So how do you take advantage of all that cheap vertical space going up to the ceiling? Simple. You use pallet racks.
All right, let's start with the most common type you'll ever see, the selective rack. It's super simple, really straightforward, and it stores pallets just one deep. Honestly, this is probably what you picture in your head when you think warehouse.
In this setup, this perfectly illustrates that core trade-off we keep talking about. The massive advantage of a selective rack is that you have 100% perfect access. You can grab any pallet at any time without moving a single other thing. But what's the cost? Aisles. So many aisles. And that means a huge chunk of your expensive warehouse floor is just empty space. So, what do you do if saving space is your #1 priority? Well, you switch to a high-density system. We're talking about things like double-deep or drive-in racks. These are designed to just cram more pallets into the exact same footprint by getting rid of those aisles and storing them 2, 3, maybe even 5 pallets deep in a single lane. So yeah, you get a huge win on space savings because you're getting rid of all those aisles. But you pay a really steep price in flexibility. See, now to get to that pallet in the back, you have to move the one in the front. It's what's called a last-in, first-out system. And this only really works if you're storing a ton of pallets of the exact same product. If you're not, you get this thing called honeycombing, which is basically just these awkward, unusable patches of totally wasted space.
Okay, so far, we've only been talking about moving around entire pallets. But let's be real. Most of the time, your order is for one single item, not a whole pallet of them. This next stage is called case picking, and this is where that battle for labor efficiency gets really intense.
So on the one hand, you've got basic static shelving. It's cheap, sure, but it is slow. A worker might be able to pick maybe 50 to 100 items an hour. But then, you look at a gravity flow rack. Yeah, it's more expensive to install, but the payoff is just staggering. We're talking up to 500 picks per hour. And why is it so much faster? Well, for one, it packs more products into a smaller area, which means less walking. And it solves a huge bottleneck. Restocking happens in the back aisle, and picking happens in the front aisle. They never, ever interfere with each other.
And the mechanics of it are just beautifully simple. You've got a worker in the back aisle loading cases onto these tilted rollers. And then gravity, good old gravity, does all the work. Sliding the next box to the front, the second one is picked. This means the picker is constantly supplied with product. They never have to stop, they never have to get out of the way for a restocker.
It's such a simple idea, but it has a massive, massive impact on efficiency.
All right, so our item has been picked from the shelf. Great. Now it has to get all the way over to the shipping dock, along with thousands of other items for thousands of other orders. This is where automation finally takes over, and believe me, it completely changes the game.
And this next concept is an absolute game changer. Think about it. For a human worker, walking 500 feet across the warehouse is a huge waste of time and money. But for a conveyor belt, that distance is practically free. It doesn't care. And what that means is you can do something really clever. You can strategically store all your lightweight, easy-to-convey items way in the back of the warehouse, saving that prime real estate up front for the heavy, awkward stuff that has to be moved by a forklift.
And if conveyors are the highways, then this is the brain of the whole operation. It's the sortation system. And it allows for this amazing thing called batch picking. A single worker can go out and just grab items for dozens of different orders all at the same time, toss them all onto the conveyor. And this system, this high-speed traffic cop, it scans every single item and automatically pushes it off onto the right path to get to the correct packing station. It's just an incredible force multiplier for your workers.
Now, just when you think it's all about robots and conveyor belts, get this. This is an amazing little detail. To maximize every inch of that vertical space, some warehouses use these special trucks that lift a person 30, even 40 feet up into the air. But what happens if that truck breaks down? Well, at one IBM site, they actually require these workers to be trained in rappelling just to get down safely. How wild is that? It's just a crazy reminder of the extreme and very human lengths companies will go to in this endless war for space.
So we've looked at pallets, we've seen all kinds of racks, flow systems, sorters. Each one of them is a really clever tool designed to solve a specific problem. But what's the one, single, unifying puzzle that drives every single one of these decisions?
Well, this is it. It all comes down to this core conflict: perfect access versus zero wasted space. You can have perfect access to every single item you own, like with those selective racks, but you will waste a ton of space on aisles. Or you can have virtually zero wasted space with a drive-in rack, but then you lose that immediate access to most of your stuff. The truth is, the perfect warehouse, the one that solves this puzzle completely, it just doesn't exist. And that invisible, constant compromise, that is the real hidden story behind every single package that lands on your doorstep.